According to Mankiw, there are 10 principles of economics. These can be split into 3 categories, the first being how people actually make decisions. These are the processes we experience on a daily basis. People face trade-offs, the cost of something is what you give up to get it, rational people make decisions at the margin, and people respond to incentives. The second category is economic interactions. Trade can make everyone better off, markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity, and government can sometimes improve market outcomes. And lastly, how the economy works as a whole. A country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and services. Prices rise when government prints too much money, and society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. So we know we face trade-offs. Often we must choose one thing over another, Coke or Pepsi, spend more for better quality or less for worse, to be or not to be. Some choices are harder than others. A study on addicts by Ray Herbert discusses the trade-off between now and later in a process called temporal discounting. This devalues the rewards of the distant future. We all have this to a certain degree, staying up late now to be tired in the morning, or refusing the cake now to lose the weight later. These are all trade-offs. When we face these trade-offs, we are weighing the pros and cons of each decision, hopefully, and one major influence is cost. The cost of something is what you give up to get it. What is this something worth to us? Let's take a college, for example. Harvard tuition is around $61,000, but is money the only thing the applicant is giving up? The applicant must also give up time, energy, and peace of mind, so college is worth much more than just the tuition. But how do we decide the value of something? A study at the University of Georgia by Professor of Psychology James Macroeconomics concentrated on how these cost-benefit decisions are made specifically by alcoholics in their decision to consume or not to consume alcohol, applying a demand curve analysis. It was determined that participants making decisions that reflected ambivalence between costs and benefits showed the highest level of brain activity. This research could have an impact on neuromarketing. In order to market something, well, including in neuromarketing, there must be a reason to indulge or buy, and so there must be an incentive to do so. People respond to incentives. Food is always a strong incentive. We are all willing to get out of bed to get a bite of our favorite breakfast food. Even the aroma can wake our senses. Oscar Mayer knows this, which is why they have created its Wake Up and Smell the Bacon app. The phone plays the sizzling sound while an attachable device produces the scent. While we know the bacon is not real, the incentive is. So now that we are aware of the economic motives behind the actions of individuals, we can focus on how these individuals will interact in the economy. Trade is an important component of economic interactions. 26-year-old Kyle McDonald knows this better than anyone else. McDonald dreamed of owning his own house, but he knew he could not afford it. He decided he would use the community power of the internet to trade his way from a single red paperclip to a house. He did manage to barter his way from a paperclip to a year's free rent on a house in Phoenix, but was still determined to continue on his quest for a house he could call his own. In a market economy, the public decides what they are willing to give for a good and service, and so through open competition and the room and capital for innovation, there is increased efficiency and productivity because the public is always looking for the better deal. This drives prices down and allows citizens to spend what they want or can afford, which is why markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. In order to ensure the market economy is beneficial, certain boundaries must be set to help better market outcomes and protect the public. By preventing markets considered to be unethical, such as the purchase and sale of people, and regulating monopolies and industries like the food industry, the government has promoted competition and consumer protection. Teddy Roosevelt's Square Deal did this through the conservation of natural resources, control of big corporations, and consumer protection. Policies such as the Hepburn Act and the development of the Interstate Commerce Corporation, helping to regulate companies involved in interstate commerce and to set railroad rates, the Meat Inspection Act and the Pure Food and Drug Act, outlawing the manufacture or sale of harmful substances and requiring food labels, all work to improve the market economy. These economic interactions between individuals and firms shape how the economy works as a whole. The goods and services produced by a country through these interactions determine a country's standard of living. The more goods and services available, the higher the quality of these goods and services, the more purchases there will be, and so the economy will grow. The opposite is true as well. The prices of these goods and services balance on a careful interaction between the public, the government, and business. The public determines the value of these goods and services, and in essence, controls prices by choosing to buy products that are affordable. The more money there is in circulation, the more people are willing to spend. When the government prints too much money, people are willing to spend more, and so prices rise, leading to inflation. When inflation rises, unemployment rates fall. This leads to a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment, illustrated by the Phillips curve. When the unemployment rate is below 5%, workers can push for higher wages because there is not a high demand for jobs. When input costs rise, so do prices, leading to an inflationary buildup in the economy. If the unemployment rate were to fall, wages would fall because workers would not have the same leverage against employers when there is a high demand for jobs, and so wages would fall, therefore prices would fall, and the inflation rate would decrease. This is illustrated by the U.S. economy between the years 1979 and 1983. As CPI fell from 15% to 2.5%, unemployment rose from 5% to 11%. The economy functions as a product of balancing supply, demand, value, and need. Examples of Mankew's 10 principles appear in our daily lives and throughout history, and prove how delicate the economy really is and how all of our decisions affect it.